Hello students, how are you all? Hope all of you are fine, doing well in this pandemic situation. Today we are going to start the very important subject under your semester 2, which is nothing but business research methods. This is such a kind of paper that if the students really sincerely prepares this paper, there will be a huge chance of scoring cent out of cent, full marks. But a little bit of laziness will cost you dearer. That is there. So few mathematical papers will be there in your this semester, second semester, and as well as in the third semester. In the third semester, you are going to read about operations research and as well as the operations management. In these papers, what is important? Hard work is very important. This is truly speaking problematic paper. So most of the time one can guess problems. Now today we understand actually what do you mean by business research methods. Before that, let us see what is the syllabus, what you are going to understand for this semester in your university, that is Usman University. So this is your syllabus. So comprising of 5 units. The unit 1 is introduction. So what is the title of the paper? Business research methods. Full marks, that is 80 plus 20, 80 for theory and 20 marks would be there for internal exams. So first unit is the introduction. In the introduction, you are going to understand about actually what do you mean by research and what do you mean by business research actually. What are the variety types of the business research and what are the characteristics of a quality research. All these things we are going to cover. And as well as under this introduction part only, we are going to cover the first basic statistical method to understand about the data. So strictly speaking, this is known as descriptive statistics. So what do you call this? The measures of central tendency. So measures of central tendency is nothing but the mean and what are the various types of the mean and what is the one more name for this mean. You can call this one as averages also, and also measures of the dispersion. So under the measures of the dispersion, we are going to understand about the standard deviation, median, mode, all these informations. Understand? Now under unit 2, we are going to discuss about a measurement tool for uncertainty. As you all know that in our life we consider most of the times we are going to face uncertainty. There is a beautiful tool in the world of statistics. You can even quantify the uncertainty, which is nothing but probability. So here we are going to understand the basic concepts of the probabilities, variety definitions of the probability, addition theorem, multiplication theorem, and the distributions. 2 types of distributions will be there. One is discrete distribution and one more is continuous distribution. So under discrete type, we are going to understand about binomial, Poisson, and continuous distribution we will understand about normal distribution. Okay, so that is going to be finish the second unit. And now under third unit, we are going to understand about the data collection methods. Datum is the singular, data is the plural. So under data, what do you find? Collection of the numerical values. So different methods will be there. So how to collect the data and how to measure the data. So what to call these scaling methods are there. So data types, if you consider the nominal data would be there, ordinal data, interval data, ratio data. So what we call a NOIR, N-O-I-R. N stands for nominal, O stands for ordinal, I stands for interval, and the ratio, isn't it? And also we are going to understand about the primary data, secondary data, and sampling techniques, non-sampling and probability sampling methods are there. So like a simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, systematic sampling, quota sampling, judgment sampling. So all these methods we are going to understand under unit 3. So next we are going to start after that the data analysis. Data analysis means extracting the wanted information. There are so many tools are available as far as the statistics is concerned. So this BRM means most of the times we are focusing on the statistical tools. So under data analysis, here in your syllabus we are going to cover hypothesis testing. What do you mean by hypothesis testing? Null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, different types of the errors like type 1, type 2, and testing of hypothesis. Two types of tests are there, like large sample tests are there, small sample tests are there. And also very important concept, what to call it, ANOVA, analysis of the variance, under 4th unit. So after doing all these things, under 5th unit we are going to understand about the correlation, regression. So these are all actually association measuring tools, correlation, Corley-Pearson's coefficient of correlation, Spearman's rank correlation. Under regression, two types of regression lines. One is y on x and one more is x on y. And all this information how to finally put in terms of what to call the hard copy, what to call that report writing. Okay. So remember very well that this BRM paper, if you really sincerely understands, in the final semester doing project is going to be very easy. There actually we are changing the topic according to your specialization. You are doing all the things, basic things, whatever you are going to use there are nothing but the methods whatever you learn under BRM, business research methods. Hence I suggest you all be careful, sincerely attend these classes, follow the classes, understand? So under suggested books, what I suggest to you, the second one, Levin and Rubin, very famous book as far as the statistical tools are concerned, especially for management people like you all. The explanation will be very simple with a real-time example. Okay. And the 7th one, C.R. Kothari, research methodology. So these two books are enough. Understand, if possible, you can learn, you can have the information from other textbooks also. So number 2 and number 7 books are enough, which might be covers all the syllabus what you are going to read in this particular very important paper, what to call this, the business research methods. After understanding what do you mean by business research methods, topics, and as well as what are the things we are going to cover, now we are going to actually understand today about what to call the research. So what do we mean research, what are the variety types of research we got, and how come we can link the business research with this what to call the research. Okay. So now we are going to start the unit 1. What is that? Research. Research. Searching again and again is known as the research. Generally, why this activity we perform? Because we want to know the actual cause for the problem. By doing that, what will be there? We are going to extract the new knowledge sometimes. We are going to identify the solution for a problem. So here the situation arises whether every problem is of research level or not. For the majority people with a what you call large scale with huge expenditure, if you are performing these activities, you can call that one as a research. Understand? The present example, very good example is what? Even the world of what you called medical science has not given the perfect solution, a perfect medicine for the present epidemic. What you call this? COVID-19. Many of the research organizations are taking up the research. Covaxin, Covishield, like few what you called vaccines came into the market. Still some kind of what you call dilemma is there in the public, which is good, which is not good comparison. So in these kinds of things, what is required? You need to perform few kinds of activities like collection of the information. So you will be asking what you called the patients before giving that vaccination, after giving the vaccination, what are their experiences. You can collect the data. Through that collection of the data and analysis of the data, maybe you are going to have a what you called a satisfactory answer. What you call this? This is known as a research. Purely speaking, this is known as a scientific research. But exclusively we belongs to the business. In the business also, without research we cannot expect any kind of development. Generally, business means what? Transaction of the services, goods are there, will be there through the value of what you call the monetary terms. So business is concerned comprises of four core units, like finance department would be there, human resource department would be there, production and operations department would be there, and finally marketing department would be there. In every department, research is mandatory. From where to what you call have the funds, where to invest the funds, how to mobilize the funds. This all comes under research activities under what you call financial area. How to sell the product, how to make to reach to the minds of the customers about the product through the advertisement. Marketing research. How efficiently we can manufacture a four-wheeler. What are the essential features required which can attract the customer to purchase a car? Becomes a what you call operations, productions and operations research. Why the employees are not feeling motivated? Why much more absenteeism is there? Understanding about the employees to what you called make them to have the high level of morale always falls under what you call human resource management research. So I mean to say, research is connected to every aspect of the business, whether that is a small scale or else what you call a large scale business. So without research, no one can expect development, whatever way that field of existence, right from what you call pure biological sciences to the business world. If you take space research, every time, nowadays what is happening since 3 or 4 years, the great countries started observing our space research developments, because in meantime we have produced wonderful results as far as the space research is concerned. So research is nothing but the pool of activities which finally reaches to a particular answer, particular result. So what is there about the research? Research refers to a search for knowledge. Research is an art of scientific investigation. What is a scientific investigation? Appropriate steps would be there. Methods would be there. Investigation means what here? Identifying the reason, cause. So according to dictionary, what do you mean by research? A careful investigation or inquiry, especially through search for new facts in any branch of knowledge. Individually, every day we will be knowingly or unknowingly doing research. Once think about our day-to-day activities. So generally, what do you research? Research is nothing but search for knowledge. These are some standard definitions. Redman and Mori defines research as a systematized effort to gain new knowledge. So here every activity, every procedure will follow a procedure right from first step to the last step in a systematic manner. The main reason would be to gain new knowledge. Some people consider research as a movement from the known to the unknown. See, beautiful conclusion about the research. So here the research is nothing but what? From unknownness to moving to knownness. From dark to light. So that movement, what you are calling as shifting from one stage to one more stage. From unknown stage to completely known stage. What you call research. So according to Clifford Woody, research comprises defining and redefining problems, formulating hypotheses or suggested solutions, collecting, organizing and evaluating data, making deductions and reaching conclusions to determine whether they fit the formulating hypothesis. Now here in this definition we find actually what are the steps you are going to perform when you are going to understand about the research. All these aspects we are covering under this wonderful paper, Business Research Methods. Okay. Objectives of research. Why actually one need to perform the research? Ourselves we can have what you call the answers for this. What is the first objective? To gain familiarity with a phenomenon or to achieve new insights into it. Best example I can quote here, Wright brothers. Who invented aeroplanes? Wright brothers, Americans. They felt that only on the land transportation leading to time consumption. Will it be possible to fly in the air like birds? Innovative way thinking. That resulted into aeroplanes nowadays. We are all benefited. So what is that phenomenon? The new phenomenon. They tried to be in the air. So these kinds of activities, what you call exploratory or formulative research studies. In coming classes, we are going to discuss exclusively variety types of research. What is this? Exploratory or formulative research. To describe accurately the characteristics of a popular individual, situation or a group. The main purpose of the research is nothing but description in terms of the charts, in terms of the figures, in terms of the averages, in terms of the standard deviation. We are going to understand the company's position, stock market. Adani group of companies doing very well present context if you see in the stock markets. How we can see various charts are there, various statistical values are there. What to call this descriptive, description, describe. Describe means explaining. To determine the frequency with which something occurs or with which it is associated with something else. Diagnostic research. Every nation, giving reason for this COVID-19 is Wuhan laboratory, belongs to China. Really, this, virus has been derived from these laboratories. How come we connect all this information? Now you see every day in newspapers, you are having so many articles on this what to call information. Diagnostic. So under diagnostic research, what do you find? You are going to find the reason for the problem. Generally, if health problems are there, we will be undergoing various kinds of diagnostic like X-ray, a blood test, and all other things, understand? To test a hypothesis of a causal relationship between variables. Entire research is vertical, depends on variables. Constants variables, very well. Variables means always which changes. Our thought process always changes. Our age will change. Isn't it? In this world, few kinds of things are there which always changes. We call them variables. Few things are there which never changes. Okay. So, the things whichever changes, you call them as a variables. To connect those variables, a wonderful technique is there in the statistics. What you call that? Hypothesis testing. Through the research, we are going to have the benefit of that hypothesis testing, objectives of the research. Now we'll discuss actually what are the various types of the researches. And now here 7 research are there. Not only 7, there are more than 7 research varieties are there. So all these variety types of researches we are going to understand. Generally the categorization would be based upon the objectives and based upon the methodology. Okay. So it is imperative that marketer has to have a broad understanding of various types of research. In general, there are 11 types of research depending on whether it is primarily fundamental or applied in nature. They are as follows. Applied research. So under applied research, what will be there? So these solutions are going to help what are called in advancements of the benefits. So what is the one more name for applied kind of research? Decisional research. So use existing knowledge as an aid to the solution of some given problem or set of problems. The second one is a fundamental research, frequently called as basic or pure research, seeks to extend the boundaries of knowledge in a given area with no necessary immediate application to existing problems. So here what will be there? Theoretical concepts will be developed under fundamental research. So those concepts will be applied whenever need arises. So what we call such a kind of research as the fundamental research. Futuristic research. Futures research is the systematic study of possible future conditions. It includes analysis of how those conditions might change as a result of the implementation of policies and actions, and the consequences of these policies and actions. So these kinds of research actually going to advantages us to understand about the things which are going to happen in the future. Descriptive research. So under descriptive research, we are going to describe about the information in terms of the graphs. Different types of graphs are there, like line graphs are there, pie charts are there, bar graphs are there, understand? And as well as with the numbers, like through the averages, what to call them as measures of central tendency, and as well as the measures of dispersion. Okay. Explanatory research. Explanatory research goes beyond descriptive and attempts to explain the reason for the phenomenon that the descriptive research only observed. The research would use theories, at least hypotheses, to account for the forces that caused a certain phenomenon to occur. So, explanatory research actually gives the reason for the existing problems. So, predictive research. So, the name itself indicating you through the historical data, we are going to predict the future. If you can provide a plausible explanation for an event after it has occurred, it is desirable to be able to predict when and what situation the event will occur. This research is just as written in theory as explanation. This research calls for high order of inference making. In business research, prediction is found in studies conducted to evaluate specific courses of action or to forecast current and future values. The entire business decision making, sir, depends upon the predictive research. We are going to understand about so many forecasting tools, like under time series methods you got a moving averages method, curve fitting methods are there. Okay. Analytical research. The research has to use facts or information already available and analyze these to make a critical evaluation of the material. Analysis means clearly understanding the information. So quantitative research. So in the real world, few situations can be expressed in terms of the numbers. To extract information, the things which can be expressed in terms of the numbers, like weight is there, height is there, profits are there, sales are there. So this information can be put in terms of numbers, what to call that quantitative research. And qualitative research are there. Few kinds of situations are there you cannot convert into numbers, like the psychological aspects, the decision making behavior of a consumer. Okay. So these things again be converted into what to call numerical information only. Research will be performed. What to call that qualitative research. Conceptual research. So here, this kind of research mainly based upon the abstract idea or theoretical information. So which is generally used by philosophers and the thinkers, through which they can develop the new theories, new concepts. The last one, very, very important, empirical research. So under empirical research, data collection would be there. Through the data, we are joining, we are connecting the problem which is persisting. Okay. So entire business research most of the time connected to the empirical research. It is appropriate when proof is sought that certain variables affect other variables in some way. Evidence gathered through the experiments are empirical studies. So today considered to be the most powerful support possible for a given hypothesis. So these are the variety types of the researches. So now I am concluding today for the day. So in the next class we will continue. So meanwhile, what we discussed today, so started BRM paper syllabus, So meaning of the research and some important definitions. Why actually we need to understand the research, objectives of the research. These are standard types of the research. So besides that, there are so many other types are there. So here we covered almost 11 types of the research, but these 7 researches are enough. So applied research, fundamental research, futuristic research, descriptive research, explanatory research, predictive research, analytical research, quantitative research, qualitative research, conceptual research, and finally empirical research. Thank you so much. Wishing you all the best.